It's time for today's video. Just give me 1 second while I get cleaned up and ready. All right, now I'm ready. So today we're going to be doing an oil change on my log splitter. It is overdue pretty much for the first oil change. I've had it a good 6-8 months now, and I've never changed the oil. I got it last fall. It is now May. So let's get an oil change done on this. It's not a hard process. I'm going to start out here now by just kind of walking around and showing y'all the drain plug, which is located down here. And the caps for the oil fill is up, one around on this side here by the drain plug. And if you come around on the other side, there's a second oil fill. And that's the one we're going to be using to fill it up because it's just hard to get a funnel in there. I would recommend having a funnel with a tube, which I'll show you here in a minute. That really helps to get down in there, or buy a piece of flexible tubing you can put on your funnel and reach down in there. That's a pretty small diameter, a ½ inch or so, or less. But it's hard to get in there. You're going to need a long, skinny funnel or one with a tube on it to get in there. That's the main thing with this job. So it's not a big deal. There's no oil filter or anything. You just take off unscrew the oil cap. Mine is a 13 millimeter. I tried to use pliers, like a channel lock plier, because some of the Briggs and Strattons that I have, it just has a square little plug. It's not even a hexagonal nut on the end of the bolt there. It's just it's a square, so you can just use like a wrench or pliers. But this was on there so tight I couldn't even move it with channel lock, so I used a 13 millimeter socket. That's what mine has. Not a big deal. So I'm going to be using Briggs & Stratton oil today. It's just what I had. I had some small engine Briggs & Stratton SAE 30 oil. I think it's a detergent oil is what you need. There's detergent and non-detergent. So I have that on the shelf. I'm using that today. And you just drain it out, give it a good time to drain. And it does help if the oil is hot when you drain it because it flows a little better. It's not quite as thick. The viscosity changes. And drain it out real good and put the plug back in and then fill her up. I just fill mine up till it overflows. So here we go. I'm going to get this thing draining and I'll be back with you.
Minutes later.
Okay, here we are now. I got that thing drained real good for about 10 minutes, and I'm just going to put the oil drain plug back in this thing. That's that 13 millimeter bolt, and I'm going to tighten that up with my ratchet. Now, I do realize that I'm using an impact socket on a manual ratchet. I don't really care. That's just what I had handy where my tools were being stored, so I just grabbed that. And here's a picture of that funnel I was telling you about. It's got the flexible tube on it. It reaches right down in there. I just happen to have the perfect tool for this, and I've dealt with a lot of generators and small engines throughout my career here, so I had this laying around. You may not have one, And I know that's kind of something special that you need, like, oh, where am I gonna, you can find these things, or like I said, you could buy some flexible tubing and just stick it on the end of your funnel. You just need to find kind of the right diameter is the only thing. That's all you got to do. You just fill it up on one side and watch until it overflows on the other side, and then that's pretty much the amount of oil you need. If you leave one side off and let it spill out, when it overflows, it's hard to overfill these little things if you do it that way. And then when I kind of feel like when you turn the motor on and start it and the oil cycles around all through the engine and everything, it'll be at the right level. And then you can pull the dipstick out and check it later if you want. But that's pretty much where it needs to be, just to fill it till it overfills, and then put the top back on, start it, and run it, circulate the oil around, and it'll be where it needs to be. And if you look where that little arrow just popped up on the screen, you can see that the oil is overflowing out of the other side. You can use the same side if you want to, but it's just a little bit more difficult. I like the fact that there's two fill sides, so you can fill out of one side and overflow out of the other side. But there it is, dripping. It is full. So I'm going to go ahead and put the cap on, and then start the motor on the machine and run it and check the oil level, make sure it's full. Now here I'm just putting in that plug, and you can see it is a tight fit on both sides. The other side's not as tight, but you still couldn't get a gallon of oil or something down under there. You'd still need a funnel over on the left side. It is a tight fit. That's what I'm doing now, is just putting everything back together, button it up, and this thing's going to be ready to run another season. And there's that left side, just so you can see. So that's it. That's how you change the oil on a PowerKNX log splitter. Now, most brands are going to be similar that are that same style. Most of the big box stores, I'm not going to name them all, but it's all going to be pretty similar. They don't have filters. You just drain it and fill it. Hope you learned something today. And if you did, or you enjoy the videos, don't forget to give me a like and a subscribe. You have a great day. I'll see you next time.